Hi everyone, yasas que kalasir tata to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going to be making eggs in a hole. I've also seen it called eggs in a nest. Call it what you want. It's a delicious brunch recipe, especially if you want to serve this to a crowd, because you can do most of the prep work ahead of time and just put it all together. It bakes in the oven in like 10 to 12 minutes. You can't beat that. This is my go-to recipe also if I want to put something together for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, because it's a complete meal. It's so delicious. Let's get started. So I saw this video a while ago. It went viral. I don't even know when, but I thought those would be so good with Koulouria Thessalonikis, which are the Greek bread rings. I've already done this recipe in the past, and I'll link it in the blog post so you can get to it and make these using that bread, because that bread is so delicious. But of course you can substitute it with bagels if you want, or a really good crusty sourdough bread that either you make at home or maybe you get from your local farmer's market. Any of those would be great. But if you make these Koulouria Thessalonikis, you're gonna love them. I made some with an everything but the bagel seasoning because my kids love that, and some plain. Traditionally they are made with sesame seeds, but some of the people in the house just don't like sesame seeds, so I left them plain. Okay, so I made these a day ahead of time. You can make them fresh if you want, but honestly, that's a lot of work, especially if you're doing this for brunch. So we're gonna begin by cutting them in half. And this is best done with a serrated knife. It looks so much like a bagel. So I'm just gonna cut two of the Koulouria in half, or two of the bread rings in half, and I'm gonna use my cast iron skillet for this, just because I am making a smaller batch. But if you're making a bigger batch, you could do this on sheet pans. It's so easy. So next we're just gonna drizzle some olive oil on the cut side of the bread. And you could also brush it on if you want. Flip it upside down. So the center of the bread is gonna hold an egg, and I should have done that first. Using a 1.5 inch round cutter, just go ahead and cut the hole a little bit bigger. You can just press it down like that to get the bread out. And I like to even leave the little pieces of bread in here. Sometimes you'll get bagels with the hole that's really small in the center, and even these, when you bake them fresh, sometimes the hole kind of closes up. That's where this little cookie cutter comes in handy. You can do it with a knife too. Just make the hole bigger than it already is, so it's about 1.5 to 2 inches big, so it holds the egg in the center. So now I have some gyro slices here. You can definitely leave the gyro out. This is homemade gyro. You can use store-bought gyro. You can use beef strips in this. Pastrami is really nice. Pasturma, also known as pasturma. And I'm just gonna cut the slices a little bit. Or you could leave the meat out and make this meatless. Next, I'm just gonna crumble some feta. I have some grape tomatoes that I'm just gonna sprinkle onto the sides. Some Kalamata Olives, these are already pitted. Some scallions that I've sliced. This is so easy, you put whatever you want in here. Then I have 4 eggs, so I'm just gonna break the egg, make sure that there's a nice little hollow area for the egg to sit in. If it spills out, like if the egg white spills out to the sides, that's not a big deal, it's fine. As long as the yolk stays right there in the center. Then I'm gonna drizzle some olive oil, mostly on the veggies. And I'm gonna season everything with a little bit of salt and pepper and a little pinch of crushed red pepper flakes. And that's it, it's ready for the oven. My oven is already preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This is gonna go in onto the center rack, and I'm gonna let it cook for about 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, I'm gonna raise the pan up to the top rack, and I'm gonna turn the broiler on just for about a minute or two, or until the eggs reach the desired doneness. If you like them more cooked, obviously cook them a little bit longer. If you like them runny, then take them out when they've just set. I'll show you what they look like as soon as they come out. So my eggs are ready. They were under the broiler for about a minute. You definitely want to keep an eye on them. Do not overcook them unless you like your eggs very well done. I like mine where the yolk is still runny, but the white is set. They will continue to set once you take them out of the oven, so it's better to undercook them a little bit than to overcook them. So definitely keep that in mind. They smell so good. I cannot wait to taste them. Make sure I get a little piece of meat. And I love those tomatoes. When they soften in the oven, they start to just get juicy. Oh my goodness. That is so delicious. The bread is kind of soft. If you want it a little more toasted, you could definitely toast it a few minutes while your oven is preheating. Maybe a few minutes, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so, so it can get nice and toasted on the bottom. It's up to you. but I think it's perfect. It soaks up that egg yolk. All of the flavors come together so beautifully. This is a perfect dish to serve to a crowd, like I said, because you can make a big batch, or you can just make a few for yourself. It's up to you. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you have any recipe requests, post them as well. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, sis.